Hello, everyone. John Anderson Pierre, the beer, rambling and gambling, prancing, dancing, all that good stuff. Looking at Sapporo Premium Beer. 5% ABV. Gets a 67 score on Beer Advocate. A Japanese rice lager style beer. It's the number one selling beer in Asia. The brewery Sapparo Breweries Limited, founded in 1876 in Tokyo, Japan. The company has 5 breweries. Um, should be pretty good. The company has 5 breweries in the in Japan. They have one in Canada, one in Vietnam, and one in their headquarters here in the States in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I believe is contracted. Sapporo contracts their beer with City Brewing, which is in La Crosse. So discover the perfectly balanced taste that's irresistible to all, and you share rich mountains with this masterpiece of the brewer's art. So, according to what was seen, of course, I said 5 breweries they have in Japan. The premium beer. Have one brewery in Vietnam, as I mentioned. The company produces a lot of their pale ale and dark lagers, Sapporo Draft, or which is this, the premium beer, um, and they do a lot of soft drinks and whatnot. But this beer is one of their more popular beers in Japan, number one in Asia. So if you look at the balance of the beers, you can see a lot of very little lacing on this beer. Um, it kind of looks like a standard lager, rice. So smell some of the malts already. The rice flavor is mostly in this beer. Has been, excuse me, I should say, is the number one selling Asian beer in the States, not in Asia, but number one selling Asian beer here in the United States. So I misspoke. Apologize. Hmm. On to, so it's a really good malt, good scent to it. Very good. It just seems a little malty, a little, but it's not. But again, now into the taste. I tried the Psy, if I pronounce the beer. I did a review of that. Singha, Psy, or C, Psy, pronounce it correctly. I did a review of that and another very popular beer within that part of the country, the Asian part of the world. Um, the brewmaster got his trade, went to Germany, learned his skill, his apprenticeship, and then came back to Japan and tried to make a style, that same style of beer, similar to this. And I mean, this is quite decent, 5%. Um, when Sapporo, I've seen a lot. I've seen them around a lot. I never tried their beers. This is my first time trying this brew here, and you see them. I've seen them around at a lot of the stores, and I never really bought into them because it's kind of out of my price range. I see it a lot at Walmart, Rouse's, all these different stores. I'm sure this is popular up my neck of the woods, up in the Northeast. So I said, whatever, you know, I'll try it, you know, but but I never thought much of it. But trying it now, I mean, this is quite good. It's superb. They give it a poor score. Beer Advocate 67, but I don't think it's really a bad beer at all. And I just don't think so. I just think it's pretty decent. And it's 5%. One of the same styles. Kind of the same ingredients that Budweiser puts out, but Japanese rice style lager could go match with Budweiser. Budweiser, I think malts, rice, um, hops. I mean, barley malts and rice. Budweiser's, traditional lager. This can go well. Japanese style beers, and the debate has been like Japanese was the first came out with beer. Either Japan, China, I should say, and Germany. We've heard these debates going back and forth, back and forth. Who cares? I like it. I like beer. um, it said 1876 the brewery was founded. Um, you have the other beer again. Forgive me for the pronunciation. Chinese style beer, or I think it is Ashi. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I haven't tried that one yet. Um, as I mentioned, Sing, and then you got the Lucky Buddha, you know, style. I mean, a lot of these beers, again, similar to the European style. The ABV may be low, between 4 and 5%, but you feel like you're drinking a very strong, powerful beer. A beer that can really put you in a really good place. Food pairings with this, obviously Japanese cuisine, Chinese cuisine, poultry, um, pork. You know, Thinking of maybe some pork sparrows would probably go good with this beer. With Asian style, some teriyaki or something sauce. Something. Uh, Legitimate Chinese food, not the stuff from around the corner you get, around the block. The real stuff. Um, I can see pairing this feeling. Can't pair this with any cheese. You probably if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. Those things that I mentioned. You know, some Lao mein. Something really hot, spicy. That would go good with this beer. Really, I really, I think it's a real good beer. I want to give that a bad score. I'm gonna give this an 8.5. I think it's a good beer. Um, Nothing like, you know, 8.5 seems about reasonable for me for this one. Um, you know, when I saw City Brewing and I knew, I mean, they do a lot of contract agreements. I know with Guinness Blonde, they make that beer, but also they make some other beers that some people um, find very questionable. That were with other stores and grocery chains. Whether it be regional areas, part of the country. Nationally. But I know they have a contract with Sam Adams to make some of their beers as well, produce some of their beers. They have so. Um, And also another good thing that when they make these agreements, which is good because I think it also penetrates the beer in those regions that they have, not just strictly just one particular spot of the country. They'll make sure that where you're gonna So branch out as much as we can to know that part of the world gets to sample all of our beers. I'm sure this beer is very popular in overseas, and in that's good. But other parts of the country, just like, of course, this beer, as I said, produced down in up in Crosse, Wisconsin. But also the brewery they have in Canada, Sleeman Brewery, which they part own, they bought, and they produce some of their beers there and other style of beers. Um, that is good, not only jobs, but also people get to sample some of the stuff. It's not just a certain part of the world thing, but we're all going to sell it here because that's what we like. You get to branch out and reach a certain cost, different group of folks across the world, which is a good thing. It's all about what it's all about. We are a maybe big, but we are a bit small in a lot of ways because we're all kind of mingling, interacting, in some way, shape, or form. But over that diatribe, I'm gonna give this beer again 8.5. I think it's really good. If you've had Sapporo, and forgive me for pronunciation, if you liked it or you don't like it, whatever the reason, leave your comments on the bottom. I am Sean Henderson Pierre of the Beer and TV Ramble. So keep watching, and as always, cheers.